Hello, Rawle. Good afternoon.
Hi, Selvin. Good afternoon to you.
Welcome, my brother.
Thank you. Great to have you. You have me on here today.
You're welcome. I hate to just cut into that beautiful fellow Kuti, and start the show, but hey, discipline is important.
Right.
Time is important. We were raised that way.
Yes, definitely.
Rawle Dundass, career has seen him holding leadership positions in the aviation, hospitality, and retail industries. For over 2 decades, Rawle has trained all levels of staff in customer service, safety, sales, communication, leadership, and motivation. As you hear that, Rawle, which of these do you lean more towards? Which of them appeals to you more?
I would say there's a strong blend between leadership and customer service. I started my career in customer service. But I remember at the age of 18 when I made a comment in Ghana with, I wish I could run this place. All I need is good people around me. And so I had the inclination ever since then. But the Ghana Airways job was really customer service. So that is my blend, customer service and leadership.
Okay, Rawle, I want to ask you something before we continue. To your left, I don't know if that's a door. It's a brown. There's
Yeah,
a light shining on it, and it's a little distracting.
got it cleared.
All right. Okay. Yeah, you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the blend really is customer service and leadership. Really, the two go hand in hand. The more I study leadership, the more I appreciate leadership. I see that someone who goes not just to make himself look good, but to help others is a true leader. And that's what customer service is all about, helping others, making sure they have an experience that they can hopefully that they can tell others about a positive story.
When did this all start for you, Rawle? And I mean, when did this whole journey in leadership and training people in leadership begin for you?
Well, I heard you speaking with young Bond just now. I say young Bond, I'm older than him. It's interesting, I'm sandwiched between younger persons and older persons. I too am a PK. So growing up as a PK, you find you are thrust into leadership positions, youth leadership as a teenager, Sunday school leadership, and other levels of leadership in the church. And so I really took that to heart. And even in school and high school, I was not a standout person as a loudmouth, but I seem to have been pretty effective, also having levels of leadership in high school. And so I really gravitated towards that level of boldness. That is where my boldness is. I'm generally a quiet person who likes the background. But when it comes to making a difference or encouraging other persons, the leader in me steps up and says, let's get it done.
And you did customer service and was it customer service, safety, and sales?
Yeah.
Let's talk customer service for a moment.
Okay. In aviation, we often see the negative stereotype about the flight attendants or stewardesses, as it was known back then as waitresses in the sky, because they served. But really, it was about safety and service. And so, through the years in aviation and then in the hospitality industry, and you hear so much about tourism and so on in Guyana and the Caribbean. Well, we can't talk about tourism and hospitality industry unless we talk about customer service. I also worked in the retail industry for 9 plus years. And what I've learned over the last probably 5, 7 years is more than just customer service, because I think it has become a blasé term over the years that, you have to satisfy the customer. The customer is always right. Customer's king. Yeah, that is true. But too often times you just give a product or a service, but you don't share an experience that's outstanding, an experience that makes someone say, wow. And really, way back to my aviation days when we did the Ghana Airways operation, I can tell you, I'm sure many persons who flew on Ghana Airways did speak well about the level of service they had back then. And if I may say this, some people still say they miss those levels of service.
I am one
Uh,
of those. Yeah,
yeah,
I am.
service. It's about an experience. It's really just not. It's not just about a product. It is about an experience that goes to your heart. That you want to go back and experience again. You want to look for what else could you do to interact with this company or these people or this product.
Rawle, tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey.
Hmm. Well, okay, I have mainly been in Main Street operations with Ghana Airways, and then after they closed in '98, I worked with Jocelyn Dow. Some people might know her, old Bishop's lady too, activist to some extent, and she is an entrepreneur. Well, through that, through her thinking, through her opening, it really led me to think that, you know what, I can set my mind to something, press forward and get it done. And then I think my main thrust came in 2008 when everything hit the fan economically across the world. And there were some needs. I was working, yes, but I saw an opportunity to start getting things at a cheaper level for my family. And in so doing, also buy enough to share with others at a very low markup. And so that was my venture into that at that time. But when I reached 45, I realized that I did not want to be stuck in corporate. Corporate is fine, lots of benefits and great perks. I didn't want to be stuck in there for the rest of my life. I wanted to venture out and, if I may say, be my own boss. I wanted to have an opportunity where I can set the standards that I want to have set, where I can instill things in people that are going to live with them for their period with the company and beyond, where I can literally make a difference based on the level of service I give and level of leadership I give. And so I joined the John Maxwell team at that time. And just fast forward, when I left Courts in 2013, I started my own company in leadership slash training in service leadership and motivation.
And how would you rate your success?
It has been measured, if I may use that word, because at the end of last year, I started to really make a difference because seeds were being sown. As you know, whenever you start a new business, the embryonic stage is very challenging. That's where you have to do the bottle feeding and the coaxing and the changing in diapers. And you deal with, when you change diapers, you deal with a lot of stuff. So there were those days. I've gotten to the point now where even though I am on an additional contract doing something else, my business is still generating worth, still generating, attracting attention because the seeds that were sown are bursting forth.
Who would hire someone like you, Rawle?
Someone who wants to see change, someone who's serious about change. Now, I don't come with a loud mouth. I come with a head for reasoning. I come to work with you because I do believe everyone has within them the stuff that's needed to take them towards their destination or take them to their destination. The challenge is many times people set off on a course, and especially entrepreneurs, and they look at the path, not just the destination, and they think, man, this is rocky, this is hard. But if you lift your head and you look to the destination, then you see that it can be done. The challenge is help me understand how it could be done. Walk me through this, at least so part of it, or push me if necessary. That's the kind of person I am. I would push you if necessary, I'd help you if necessary. So if you need help in growing your business, if you need help in personal development, where you don't just get older, but you grow. You don't just get older, but you grow. I'm there to help you. I am a licensed coach with John Maxwell team. And so it's all about intentionality. Many people want to do things, dream about things, but they don't act. They don't get up off the bed. They don't get out the door. They don't do what's needed. I help you to do it.
I know you told us just now your first introduction to John Maxwell, but why his set of leadership principles and why did you adopt them? What's so special about them?
The interesting thing with John Maxwell is that he's very real. First of all, he comes from a Christian background, but he's able to cross over very effectively, and he has touched over 60 nations, written many books, over 60 books also, and he is practical. When he decided in 2012 to start this team, the John Maxwell team, it was after he had already had a great level of impact. But what he wanted to do at that time was to directly influence persons who can then use his label, use his name. He's unabashed about being able to share the principles that he learned through trial and error. In fact, he wrote a book, Failing Forward. And so that's the kind of thing I like. Being able to make a mistake, but admit that, yes, I messed up, but what can I learn from that mistake? What can it teach me, and what can it teach those around me? And so leadership is really about others. And so I like that about him. He doesn't just say it. He is a leader. The question is asked, are you a leader worth following? I believe he is one, and that's what I aspire to be also.
What is one of the most memorable failures you had? I mean, you don't have to go into details, but how did it affect you How did it motivate you? And what made you get up after you fell?
Well, I don't think I've spoken about this publicly, but when Ghana was closing, there were many persons and companies who bid or who were invited to bid to buy the company. I was bold enough to get a couple of employees and say, let us do this. We can form a company, we can get support, we can make a difference, we can run this airline. And we made great progress. We were able to attract a company in the US who was willing to back us. We attracted a well-known person and company in Guyana who was able to back us. Without going into details, unfortunately, we did not cut well, we didn't make the chase that we made the cut. And sadly, we saw Guyana Airways go to another company, and it lasted for less than 2 years. We believe we could have done it. I questioned myself for years after that until about 1 year ago, actually, someone said to me, probably didn't work because the team wasn't ready. It hurt me. I really felt we were ready. We were young, we were brash, we knew aviation, we had a good support team, but maybe there was something within us. So what I've taken away from that is really being detailed in preparation. Whatever you have to do, you succeed when you prepare. You don't have luck in life. Luck is, of some persons might know, basically when opportunity meets preparation. So you prepare, you press, and you make progress, you will at some time eventually reap the success that you desire. And that's why for me right now, it's really about the stick-to-itiveness. It's about pressing forward and making sure that I'm focused on the journey, overcoming the obstacles, learning the lessons, and making progress.
What made you get up after you got that disturbing news, or you realized that you guys failed? What made you get up, though?
I saw the faces of persons older than me. I saw the faces of leaders in former Ghana Airways that looked disappointed. Didn't know before that they were depending on us. I heard the voices afterwards that said, why couldn't we have done it? I heard the regret. But when I look back at the mistakes that were made, when I look back at the lead up, I realized that if we had only gotten a little bit more support, if we had only been a little bit more experienced, if we had only prepared a little more diligently, we may have been able to do it. And so life is about chances, second chances, even third chances. I believe that there were adequate lessons learned for all of us who were involved at that time. Pick ourselves up and continue with life. Failing does not make you a failure. So that situation, we failed. But were we failures? No, we weren't. I can tell you most of us have gone on, some out of the country, some in the country, to own their own businesses or to higher levels of business, wherever in corporate.
And what did you learn about yourself after this?
The ability to rebound. I had never been hit so hard. I got another hit after that, a couple of years after. But I was able to handle that one better because I learned to rebound. Look, I cried. That thing hurt me so badly when it happened because I thought we had done everything that was necessary. And so I learned that falling or failing does not make you stop. You should not stop. But open your eyes. Sometimes when we cry, we close our eyes, right? And the tears blind our eyes. But you know what? If you look at tears as a magnifier, we can see ahead through the dim. And we can move forward again. And for me, I know I'm a resilient person. Nothing keeps me down. I've taken blows. Nothing keeps me down. I've learned my level of resilience through that.
What advice would you give a new entrepreneur?
Well, plan carefully. Don't just dream and keep it in the air. Write down your notes, write your plans down, talk to someone who's been there, done that. Share carefully with someone you can trust. Now, there are many persons you might share your dreams or your plans with, and they say, no, that can't happen. Or they say, you've got great potential, it will happen eventually. I believe you will have one or two persons that you can depend on, who you can rap with, share your real dreams with, and even if they tell you no and you ask them why, they will then turn around and explain to you why, and then you can trust their decision. Also, too, you might not want to change, you will not change a destination, but you might have to change your course and get in there. Many times, entrepreneurs feel if they have to deviate from a set course, that means the end of the world. No, no, no. Keep your focus on what you're going to do and just shift if necessary, rebound, and keep pressing towards that goal. There are different routes to get to where you're going. You can't make it on your own, but you may have to make individual decisions based on someone's advice.
What do you say to someone who's listening here tonight and is struggling with being able to write things down? You know, there are some people who are not planners. They they run away from jotting things down partly because they procrastinate or they say they don't have time, and partly because they don't know what they should be writing down. But what do you say to someone who is struggling with writing notes, making a
Yeah.
plan?
Okay. You know, we talk about the mind's eye, which is beautiful. We can dream and have thoughts, and could be bright. But when you write something down on paper, you see your thinking, if I put it that way. You bring life and physicality to your thoughts. And you can look at the literal pros. If you do a page and split it into pros and cons, you can see the actuality. I didn't really think of it that way. Until you write it down, you activate another sense. Because remember, you would have seen it, heard it, and now writing it using your touch. It reinforces that thing that you're now putting into practice. And it gets into your subconscious and allows you now to operate at another level beyond the ordinary thinking. So when you write things down, it prompts you now to action. I think even stronger than a mere thought.
Rawle, what is one of your success stories? Without giving off any names or so on, but just give us, a general view of is one of the success stories that you've had with someone or ones that you've trained as leaders.
Well, to sit and think of that now, most of my main leadership has been over the last 2 years. And you said don't give not too much details, but there is a young man that I met probably in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I got involved in training him as part of a team in aviation. And through that training, we maintained the contact. And he then started his own company many years after. Now he has a group of companies.
A group of
2 years
companies.
ago- Sorry?
A group of companies.
A group of companies in Guyana. And 2 years ago, he asked me to be his coach. Now, we had a link before where he said I inspired him, so I feel humbled by that. But then he asked me to be his coach, and I thought it's really good to know that someone can trust you now to work with them to help pull them to the next level. He had dreams, he had plans written down, he had started businesses successfully, but he wanted to smooth out certain things in his life and in his business. And I'm happy to say that young man has continued to grow over the last 2 years since we've been interacting more directly.
How does someone find you, Rawle, that needs this kind of a training and so on? How do they find you?
Well, my cell number is the easiest thing, 6000112. But I do have a Facebook page with my professional business, Professional Development Enterprise. And through that, we can make the link because I do mastermind training, I do coaching, I do leadership training, and a variety of other things that is needed. But I do have other commitments. Working right now with a program that deals with youth empowerment, youth employment. And so I have noticed recently that I can be easily found. I've been getting phone calls even at work. When asking a friend who they know Rawle and they call me. So I make myself available. I'm at church, but my cell phone is the easiest thing. And like nowadays, you just Google Rawle Dundass, you'll find me. I'm on LinkedIn also.
In terms of training, or a company contacts you. Let's say a company contacts you to train their employees. What are you looking for before you start?
I'm looking for a real desire to bring about implementation. Many companies do training because it's part of their budget. They have to train every year, but they don't pay much attention to training. They throw in a one-day training and that's it. There's no review, there's no application, or there's no way of checking to see if the training was applied. Did change take place? So I want to know that you're serious about it. It's not about the money, go and train and walk away. I want to be able to, I speak a lot about being crazy or being mad, M-A-D, making a difference. I want to make a difference in your life, make a difference in your company. But I can only do that if the seed that has been sown is allowed to germinate, if you water it, if you apply the cream that's given, if you apply the medication that's suggested. And so I want to know that you're serious. not just through saying it, but our discussions will lend light to that you want to be able to do something different. A lot of companies do training. I've had some companies lately who have said we want to move away from our own internal training and to see what it's like to have someone from outside come and do training. How would that impact their team? And I've had some good reviews on that.
How do you measure your success when you take on one of these jobs, these projects?
The impact to me starts on the last day of training. I've had some interesting responses, man. I've had rousing applause at the end of training. I'm like, I didn't make a speech, I give training. Or I've had votes of thanks where people are saying all kind of things of what they've learned about the training. I also ask for reviews that I can hold you to, where you have 3 things that you're going to apply when you leave the training session. And so the interaction with the people during the training tells me a lot. But at the end of it, I go back into your company or I make a phone call and I see a genuine reaction, not a jump. And sometimes when a boss walks in the floor, you see people jump into action. No, when I step in somewhere and I stand aside and I observe your company, your staff doing the different thing that they have learned, I feel good. They have applied. It's not about job well done for me. It's about job well done for them. They have applied.
And how does I guess word gets around to the various companies that have contacted you.
Yes.
Well, what do you enjoy most about what you do, Rawle?
I say that training is one of my highs. I don't use drugs. I drink coffee. But when I conduct a training session, I'm in another world. Just to hear the interaction, to see the different faces, to see in a room of people that's filled, one person trying to get around the back of another to make eye contact so as to get to better understand and see and hear what I'm talking about. That gives me a great level of satisfaction. To hear questions asked and to see a nod of understanding when I respond. And best yet, to hear people off the cuff say, thank you, that worked, thank you. It may have been something I heard before, but it was re-energizing, it was refreshing. Or thank you, that was fresh and new. I like the way that was done. That gets me going, it really does.
Give us one example of a principle that when you say it to people, they're usually surprised. It's like one of those aha moments. Oh my gosh, I never looked at it that way.
Well, it comes mainly in customer service. Leadership too, generally leadership. Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And people ask, what do you mean? But everyone influences someone. People ask, what do you mean? But everyone influences someone directly or indirectly. But let me come to the customer service, because oftentimes we speak about customer service, as I said, just ordinarily. But I like to emphasize on the customer experience. And I tell persons it's an emotion. People leave they get connected, they feel a joy, they feel a desire, they feel happiness, literally feel so good. Sometimes people want to cry when they feel wowed because of the experience you shared with them. It's not about a product or a service that you give, it's about that experience, which is an extension of the product or service. And so that often lights people up. It's an extension of just that thing that you said, that you promote your company to be, well, we're selling TVs. No, we're not a company that sells TVs. We're a company that does exceptional customer service and we sell TVs. The extension of the product is a customer experience.
What has been your biggest challenge or struggle as an entrepreneur?
I think I can quickly say a level playing field. And sometimes that is used just as an excuse or used too glibly. But really, we all deserve, or we all have access to similar things. And too often, especially in our country, I dare say, I don't want to get into anything controversial, but it's too often about who you know. I don't really have a major problem with that individually, because I do believe that once you have great confidence in yourself and you sell your product yourself well, you will make the progress or necessary contacts. But a lot of times we aren't patient enough to wait to see the seeds germinate. And sometimes people jump ahead of us because they use Miracle Grow. Now, I don't mean Miracle Grow in a positive sense. They use some other means to accelerate their connection. And so the level playing field is very important. Having said that, of course, we wouldn't always have that opportunity available to us. We have to come back to pushing our product. You can't expect to lie down and hope that things are going to happen if you're not watering the plant.
Those days, Rawl, and I know you teach customer service and motivation and leadership and so on, but you're a human. So for those days when you're not in the mood to get up and do what you got to do, who or what gets you out of that mindset?
Well, we talk about my why factor. I train about the why factor. Why do you exist? What's your purpose in life?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about why for a second. Go ahead.
Well, we don't just exist. Everyone has a purpose, and sometimes we don't dig deep enough to find it. Some of us run around on the strings of our parents or grandparents' expectations. But when we can see what really turns us on, gets us excited, what brings us satisfaction and fulfillment at the end of the day, for me, it's about making a difference in one person's life. I call myself a transformation farmer.
A
I
what?
don't make a lot of noise. I
What is
plant
that
seeds.
role? A transformation farmer?
Farmer, yeah, I plant seeds.
Okay.
So eventually, that one person goes out and makes a difference, another person goes out and makes a difference. And that makes me happy when I get the stories, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. And so if I don't get out of bed, if I don't make that phone call, if I don't respond to that email or to that text, I've let somebody down. A lot of times it starts with me, obviously, and I don't want to let myself down. And I think that's what we should all look to in any case. It starts with me. Yes, you want to help others. So if you don't get up out of bed, if you don't push through that door, you can't help others. So that it is about doing that thing that makes you happy, knowing that it's not a selfish ambition, but it's something that resonates with those who are around you, your family, your community, your country.
Have you ever been in a situation or in a program you're teaching and you felt it wasn't going according to your plan or according to your expectations? What happens then?
That's an interesting question. I'm trying to send my mind way back. Uh, um, let me answer very carefully. I believe in preparedness.
Ah,
And if that happens, it means I wasn't properly prepared. I don't like to hear people say, "Oh, I got a call last night to make this speech," and while preparing for the speech, X, Y, Z. And so there are times when you have a sudden call to an event and you have not been able to prepare properly. You can find yourself caught between a rock and a hard place. But if you know your topic, if you have some idea of your audience, if you have an ability to connect with your audience, then you can work your way out of that debacle, so to speak. But rarely should you have a major fix if you are properly prepared. And I try to always be properly prepared.
what is a day or what does preparation look like for you, Raul, when you have a major program or a major assignment? What does preparation look like for you?
Preparation is interesting. It's almost like planting rice where you just throw in the seeds, because I start off with small sticky pads, yellow pads, pieces of paper, tissue, wherever I am with a thought, I jot it down and then I start to put it together.
Uh-huh.
Then I rearrange them into the right order, the order I want to use it. And then, of course, I practice. I try at least once or twice to do the speech, or at least pieces of it, so that I hear myself, so that I can try and learn some of the quotations, or make sure my points are properly aligned. If it's a training session, make sure the points and the videos line up properly, the PowerPoints and so on. So it's really about bringing the pieces together, adequate time before the day of presentation.
Raul, I must ask you this. You're in Guyana, you're teaching leadership and service and so on. There's a lot of chatter. There's elections coming up on May 11th. Lots of political chatter. What does this period, what does this election mean to you as a businessman? What does it mean to you personally and as an entrepreneur?
Hope. Listen, Selvin, of course, Obama epitomizes the reality of hope, the audacity of hope, and he got there. It's not just about dreaming and speaking and writing, but getting involved. And that's why I speak about this transformation farm. I've never seen myself as one to be involved loudly in political arena, but I have interacted over the last 2 years with my training and mastermind sessions with people who I know now are involved, especially youths who are involved in pushing for that change. And so my hope lies in the change of hearts. My hope lies in the determined mindsets of the young and middle-aged persons who we see coming to the fore. I listened to James Bond just now, and I listen to other youths who are stepping up, and even some not that young, people who are within my age group, Nigel Hughes and some of my colleagues. And I believe there is a sincerity. I frankly am fed up of hearing talk about the past. Listen, the past is gone. We cannot change yesterday, but we can prepare for tomorrow. And therein lies my hope. I believe there are enough persons who are speaking about a better tomorrow, who are serious about it, who are willing to make the sacrifices. And that's what it comes to. Not because you see an obstacle on the road or because you stump into and you fall means we have not succeeded or we will not succeed or we failures. So I believe there's a strong resonance of hope around. I believe I hear crying for people to come out and vote, and yes, there may be some naysayers who are saying that I will make a difference. But I say yes, one person makes a difference and it multiplies. 1, 2, 4, 16, it goes on. So there is hope, but hope, commitment, dreams do not stand alone. Their effectiveness lies with action. Action is coming. Change has started. Transformation is here.
Rawle, the last question.
Yes,
We've
sir.
just celebrated International Women's Day on March 8th. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, my mothers. You think about praying mothers or praying grandmothers. You think about wives who nurture the children. I mean, we men can't do it alone. We came from a woman, but yet sadly we don't recognize them enough. And sometimes I think we get lost too much in debate. Look, if you know who you are as a woman, if you know who you are as a young person, step up and take your role, take your place. Potential is about power not being used. And women are powerful, and there are loads of stories around the world, the Caribbean, our country, about women who have made significant impact. And so let's look at examples and stand up and say, as a woman, I'll be next. Young person, I'll be next. And so let's blend the young women and let's blend the women and the young people together. We celebrate them, but it shouldn't just be about a day or a month, because we cannot separate women from men, from youth, from boys. They are an integral part of who we are. They are the nurturers. They are the ones who bring us forth. Very valuable, powerful place.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Keep
You're
up the
welcome.
good work, and thanks for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure. Great to be among these wonderful people. And
All
with
right,
you.
you take care.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.